I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Music Theory Tuition series where I work with you step by step through the ABRSM Discovering Music Theory grades. I'll work through every single exercise and explain everything you need to know. You can access information about the books I have available to help you on my website. Go to sharonbill.com. For advert-free and longer lessons, you can become a patron at patreon.com/SharonBill. If you can give me a like, that would be super, and please do subscribe to my channel to stay updated. You can support this channel by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SharonBill. Let's press on to the topic of irregular time signatures. We're moving on now to page 3 in the Grade 5 Discovering Music Theory workbook. So we're looking at irregular time signatures where we could have up to 5 or 7 beats in a bar, whether that's crotchet beats or quaver beats. And so they're not going to work out sort of symmetrically regular, as it were, because a composer may not want to have a piece of music in such a time signature. And so we've got to make the time signature fit the music as the composer intends it. And it's just a matter of counting, and it could be any of those numbers. So let's have a go at exercise 3, and we've got to choose a time signature for each of these rhythms. At first we get a clue whether we're counting in crotchet or quaver beats, but then we're going to have to figure that out as well. So we'll look at the first couple together, and then maybe you can just press pause, have a go on your own, and then re-access into the video to check through your answers. Now we are given a clue that all of these are going to be irregular. And so that gives us a starting point. Here we're told that there are 4, that we're in under 4, the number is 4, which we know is crotchet beats. And if I just give you a little brief reminder, obviously as it may seem, the reason number 4 tells us that we are in crotchet beats is because here we have our semi-breve, which is also known as the whole note, like a whole cake, which divides into 2 minims. And so that would be why, if we're counting in minim beats, our bottom number is 2. If you think about your fractions, it's like in half notes, as they would be called. And then if we divide again, we're now dividing a minim into 2 crotchets, a minim into 2 crotchets, which means the whole is now divided into quarters, and that's why these crotchets can also be known as quarter notes, and the bottom number 4 tells us which unit beat we are counting in. And then if we divide again, of course we're dividing 1 crotchet into 2 quavers, and that will give us, now we've divided the whole into eighths, and that's why quavers can sometimes be called eighth notes, and the bottom number 8 means we're counting in eighth notes. And of course 2 quavers always equal 1 crotchet, but if we're counting in quavers, then we count a quaver as 1 unit beat. So if we're counting in quavers, 1 quaver is 1 unit beat, so a crotchet is 2 unit beats. So the time values don't change in relationship to each other. It's just like counting in a different unit beat. So just as we would say 1/2 or 2 quarters or 0.5 all means the same. Well, yes, it does, but we're counting it differently. And that's what we'll be doing here, but now also considering that the time signatures will be irregular. And we can see here that everything is grouped to show this unit beat. So there's 1 beat, quaver plus quaver equals crotchet. There's another beat, and here we can just diagram that out, and we can see that a quaver is half of a crotchet beat, and then the dot makes it half as long again, making it 3/4 of a beat, and then there's our final quarter. So there's beat 2, there's beat 3, beat 4, again we can see a quaver is half of a beat, and then we have 2 quarters that gives us our whole beat. So there's beat 4, there's beat 5, and so of course our top number must be number 5, because remember, right back in grade 1, we learned that the top number tells us how many beats, the bottom number tells us what type of beat we are counting in, what is our unit value. And now we're told that we're counting in quaver beats. And so we're counting each quaver as beat unit to count in. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. A crotchet, as always, divides into 2 quavers, but we're counting each one of these. So there's beat 4, there's beat 5. Now here, beat 6, let's start from the back. Here's beat 7. We know that 2 semiquavers makes 1 quaver, so there's beat 7. And we know that 2 semiquavers equals a quaver, but this one's been made longer and this one's been made shorter, and so in effect they sort of cancel each other out, and there we get the same effect as 2 semiquavers. So there's beats 6 and 7, and so of course here we can see quite clearly that the top number should be 7. Now we've got to choose, oh no, we're okay, we've still got some clues here. So let's see how many crotchet beats. So we've just got to peg out the maths. So there's 1, there's 2 crotchet beats. A minim divides into 2 crotchet beats. There's a crotchet beat. 2 quarters and a half, we know, makes a crotchet beat. And there's a crotchet beat. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 over 4. And again, we're in quavers. So we're counting each quaver beat. So a crotchet divides into 2 quavers. 2 semiquavers is 1 quaver. 2 semiquavers is 1 quaver, and there's another quaver. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you just kind of diagram it out, it becomes very easy. So do scribble away and just annotate to work out your maths. And now we get to choose which is going to be our best bottom number. Are we going to be counting in quavers, or are we going to be counting in crotchets? Well, it's obviously going to be quite a long bar. Here, we've got a lot going on. We've already got 3 crotchet beats, plus all of these others. And so that, first of all, will perhaps flag up to us that we're going to be counting in crotchet beats. If it was going to be quavers, we'd have way too many beats in the bar. But let's see if that works out. Also, what will help us is we can see that we've got 4 semiquavers grouped together, which makes a crotchet, rather than previously where we had 2 semiquavers giving us a quaver. And so here that is showing us each unit value. We beam to show the start of each new beat, don't we? So there's our other clue. So we know now that we're definitely correct counting in crotchet beats. So there's 1 crotchet beat. There's another. Now here we have 3/4 of a beat and a quarter, which gives us another, and the fact that they're all beamed together is our final clue. A dotted minim gives us 3 crotchet beats. It divides into 3 crotchets because a minim divides into 2, and then half as much again gives us our third. And we know that 2 quavers equals a crotchet. So altogether we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 over 4. Let's look at this next one. So we need to figure out, are we counting in crotchets or quavers? And this is the group that will give us the answer, because we can't be counting in crotchet beats, because otherwise this group is beamed together to show 1.5 crotchet beats. Well, that's not permissible. You don't show half beats, as it were. You can't have a random half a beat. So it doesn't work in crotchet beats, so it's got to be counting in quaver beats. And we have 2 semiquavers that gives us a quaver. There's beat 1. There's another quaver, beat 2, and then we have 3 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 8. Let's look at this next one here. And again, we get the same problem as here. that shows us that we can't be counting in crotchet beats anymore. We must be counting in quaver beats, because here we've got one quaver here. Half of that gives us a semi-quaver, as it were, with another semi-quaver here. So there's our second quaver beat. Better make those look like quavers. And there's our third quaver beat. You can't have a group of 3, because if we were counting that in crotchets, that would be 1.5 beats, which won't work. So we've got to be counting in quaver beats. So we can see we've got 1, 2, 3. There's 4, 5, and then a crotchet divides into 2 quavers, 6 and 7. So that's 7/8. And finally, now here, the grouping will tell us, we can see we're always in groups of 2 quavers, even though they're sort of unequally balanced. We can see there's a quaver. Half of that is a semi-quaver's worth, with another semi-quaver there. So those 2 semi-quavers give us a quaver. So we've got a quaver here and a quaver here. Or you could look at it, and if you think there's a crotchet beat, we've got half a beat here, and then half of that is a quarter with the remaining quarter left. We can see it's got to work in crotchet beat. So there's crotchet beat 1, there's crotchet beat 2. 2 quavers give us a crotchet, there's beat 3. We have the same again here. There's another crotchet beat. And then a quaver, 2 semi-quavers equals a quaver. 2 quavers is a crotchet. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/4. There we go. And these, if you just tap through them, you're counting your pulse all the time. So you're counting the number 5 or the number 7, and then depending what you're counting in, you count, for example, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. Or let's do the same 5 beats per bar, but in crotchet beats, 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and a 5. It's just making sure that beats 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fit in on each kind of click, as it were, and then you fit these in. So that's going to be slightly later than that one, because that's 2 equal halves, 1 and 2 and 3, and so you get that dotted feel there. However, here we see irregular time signatures, and the accents will fall on each beat, but they won't be equally kind of symmetrically balanced, because it's not equal in each half of the bar. And that's that question completed. I hope this is helpful to your studies. Please do like and subscribe to stay updated. If you'd like to support this channel, you can buy me a coffee, and for advert-free lessons you can become a patron. Do visit my website, where you'll find many resources available to help you. Visit sharonbill.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.